Welcome to Media Mondays, everybody. I'm El Michelle, and I'm so excited to be here. As you could probably hear from the background, I have this going on several different devices, but it is always amazing to be live. We do this YouTube on demand as well. So if you subscribe to our YouTube, you'll see some unique Media Mondays on there. And then you'll also see a replay of the Media Mondays that we do here live on Facebook. But I'm always excited because anyone who knows me knows I love to talk about media. I love to talk about more than media. I love to talk about ministry and just so many things. But my real, sincere, deepest passion is in media and how we can use media tools to connect with people who need us. So please share this feed. I think that today will be an amazing session because I would say we have one of the original online coaches, like original life coaches who actually coaches online too. Like pre-COVID, all of us thinking about how we can do our coaching and really reach people online. Our guest today, Clestine The Purpose Coach, was all about it. She was doing it, and I'm just super excited to have her join us. So hi, Boya, who's here, who's checking in, and I appreciate anybody else who's here. Please do check in because it is always a good time to be able to interact with you, and you can ask any questions that you would like. So without further ado, I would love to have Clestine join us now. Look how she magically appeared.
Hey, everybody.
Hi,
How are you?
I am so great. Thank you. Just a small little bit of background. I've known Clestine for several years now since me and Dr. Nikki Collins were doing the roof project in the Spring Hill area. And I have been talking to her for months about coming on here. And finally, I got my things together and got her on here because she's been ready to talk since about May.
Yes.
Am I right about that?
Yes.
So she's here, and I believe like this is the appointed time for you to be here. So welcome to Media Mondays.
Thank you for having me, El Michelle. I really appreciate your spirit, and I appreciate how you show up in the world. So thank you. Hey, Debbie. Good to see you.
Yeah, we got Deborah here, who is our mutual connection. Hey, Deb, thanks for checking in. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Clestine, the Purpose Coach. That speaks so big. So tell us about it.
And it is so good. So for me, my story starts out a little shy girl in Jolly-O, England. And I like to share that part of my story because there's a lot of people out there that have this tugging at their heart where they should be speaking or doing something online like this, but they're afraid and they allow their fear to hold them back. And I was afraid. I was this very shy girl in England. And fast forward, I moved to the United States of America when I was almost 13, but I've always had this thing in me that says I'm a teacher. And when I was in high school, I did some research. I'm like, oh, teachers don't make a lot of money, so I'm not doing that. So I did what you shouldn't do, and I followed the money. Don't follow the money, people. Follow your dream. Follow the desire that God put in your heart. Follow the gifting. Wow. And the money will come when he is ready or when you are ready, right?
Wow.
So, and you're going to be so much happier. Even if you don't have money, you will be happier if you
and that's a better quality
your dream.
Right. It's a better quality of life. So,
it is.
Yeah.
And what I learned from that is I actually followed my skills, right? I followed what I was skilled at and good at. And what I liked, but that was not my passion. And so what I followed was science and math. I ended up studying engineering in college. I ended up working as an engineer for 8 years. And I worked in several companies where we designed medical devices, so hip implants, knee implants, that kind of thing.
Right.
And but 2 years into my 8-year career, I realized I really was not an engineer because all my colleagues, all my friends had this bright, shining excitement when they talked about engineering, and they were really passionate about it. And I realized I was not passionate about it. And so I
Right.
realized that I wanted their passion, but I knew that wasn't it. So I prayed for 6 long years, and finally, God moved me to North Carolina, and that is where He put me in the wilderness, so to speak, or the beginning of my wilderness. And that's where I discovered my purpose and my
Wow.
passion. And it was to teach God's daughters, although at the time I didn't know that, it was to teach God's daughters how to discover their purpose and then how to
Hmm.
monetize it, turn it
Wow.
into a business using godly principles without, without losing your passion, without losing your relationship with God, but, being in business and monetizing your purpose and your passion. I think that's the most exciting thing that could happen to anyone, to be able to live your dream or live your purpose and your passion
Yeah.
and make money from it.
Yeah.
I think that's
Like that's
amazing.
the huge thing, you know. Most people don't think
Absolutely.
you can have both, but you can.
You can have both. And so before I left North Carolina, God had started, maybe a year before, God had started to show me that my calling was speaking, like Joyce Meyer, he said. And that I also later on, a few years later, realized I was also a coach and had always been a coach because in my engineering career, all the directors and managers, they would come to my office and they would sit and ask for my advice. And I loved doing that, but I
Oh
wasn't getting
wow.
paid for it. That was
I
not my
see.
job, but that
I
was
see.
what I loved the most. So that was like my first clue, that I was in the
Wow.
wrong place, right? And what I was supposed to be doing.
So you got into, you fast forward to now, and I know we were kind of talking about this, right? Like
Hmm.
you start doing this in person, but then I've even looked at some things. You really start to begin to engage people online, setting up groups on social networks. Tell us a little bit about this online coaching, and good afternoon to everyone who's stopping in. Kashira, who's
Hi,
one of our
Kashira.
learners from FAMU, she's stopping in right now. I see Marlene has stopped in to hear
Hey,
what we're saying. I also see
Marlene.
my sister Denise Strong on
All
here.
right,
And
Denise.
so tell us a little bit about uh, how you began to do this online. You mentioned to me on the break, you said, or before we started, I've been doing Zoom. How long had you been using Zoom to engage people?
Wow. It's got to be, I'm thinking like maybe 6, 7 years that I've been using Zoom. And it was really interesting because before I used to do my coaching programs teleclass style. And the reason
Ah,
I did that is because I was an international speaker, mainly national speaker. So I would travel around speaking, and I was getting clients that were out of state. So already I had to learn how to film my classes, not just locally in the Tampa Bay area, but nationally and internationally. So I always have clients in different states. So I started doing teleclasses, but then one day, one of my friends had a meeting, and he goes, "Have you heard about this thing called Zoom? You should try it." So he goes, "I'm starting to use it with my clients." So he sent me the link. I went on it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'll be able to see them. I'll know if they're paying attention. I love this."
yes,
And
yes.
so I decided, you know what? I need to do this. I need to take it to the next level. Now, here's the interesting thing, and I know a lot of people experience this. Even though I'm an extrovert, even though I am a speaker, there's this fear that rose up in me. And I was just like, where is that coming from? But it was the fear of, what if people don't want to show up? What if it doesn't work? What if I don't look good on camera? All of these things that start going through your head. And I know a lot of you have those questions and have those hesitations about being on camera. But listen, everybody's going through the same thing. But I had to just ignore that fear and allow my faith to drive me. And I started doing
Wow.
my classes on Zoom, and I have not looked back. I just love it because I can see them, we can interact. It just took my coaching, online coaching, to a whole nother level, because instead of just hearing them, I could now see them and share documents so that we could really take it to another level.
Wow. So, oh my God. I have people who are commenting. I can't comment quick enough. Like one of your, okay, let's start right here. Ignore the fear, allow faith to drive you.
Absolutely.
Allow faith to
Absolutely.
drive you. And then hello to my sister Deidre, who's joining us. And then Denise, of course, says this is great information to push us to the next level. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
I feel as though I've been a certified life coach now for 2 years. It'll be 2 years in November. And of
Nice.
course, my specialty is media and content development. Hello to Mommy and Me Boutique, where Sam is
Hey,
also
mommy
a
and
coach.
me.
And then hello to my husband, who says this is good. So listen,
Good.
thank you, husband. Um, I made the decision right off the bat. Like, look,
Hmm.
I'm going to do a web app. I'm going to coach people through the app and just
Good.
go at it like that. And of course, COVID and things like that kind of
Uh-huh.
pushed us in that direction. How
Nice.
long did it take you to start becoming comfortable doing that and really getting traction? Because you're not coaching for free online, are you?
I'm not. So I do my
Right.
free consultations. I do through Zoom as well.
Okay.
And now it's pretty much, I would say, 98.5% of the people that I consult are doing it through Zoom, because I pretty much don't give them much of an option.
Right.
And then it didn't take me long to get over the fear. I would say after the first time that I did it, I was like, oh my goodness, I love it. My clients were more interactive. They loved it. And because they loved it, I was like, okay, I'm good.
We are talking about coaching online with Clestine, the Purpose Coach. If you have questions for her before we wrap up, y'all know we only do 30 minutes. Go ahead and put your questions in the comment or share this even in someone's inbox who might need to hear this. We're talking about coaching online. And so you said that you're not doing it for free. So you set your rates. Are your rates a little different? How did you tell us a little bit about the business
About
side
my
of
rest.
coaching online?
So the coaching side of my practice, I have online coaching, which they don't interact with me at all. It's my teaching videos, my lessons, coaching tools. Usually I will give one free laser session because I'm heart centered and I want everybody to succeed. And
Right.
so just being able to kind of say, okay, you went through this lesson, this program, what was the one thing that you're going to do? What you're going to do differently? That kind of thing, to have that kind of interaction with them. But for the most part, there's I don't do any coaching with them. It's online. Then there's the group coaching is the next level where we
Mm.
actually are in a class, right? And so the group is in a class. I usually don't like more than 8 people in a class so that I can be more interactive with them. And then the next level is private coaching, where it's just one on one. And so the group coaching and the private coaching, I do it through Zoom. And it really is amazing because I get to share my documents, share videos, anything that I need to do to add to the experience so that they can learn and be stretched and go to their next level.
And so results wise, have
Hmm.
you, I know you've been coaching for years online. Hello to my friend Nina, who says that this is awesome information. You've been doing this for years now. Have the results have you found that you get just as many results by coaching online as you would in person?
I think, that's a good question. I feel like the results are about the same, but
Okay.
as far as in class, the attention is obviously different because now you can't really multitask because I'm seeing you, right? And I'm
Ah,
asking you directly.
right.
So in the class, it is different. You get more interaction. You get more I think it's better not just for them, but for you as well, because you can see
Right.
them and interact better. And you can
Right.
share documents. I couldn't share anything during the teleconferences.
Ah, I see what you're saying. But now through Zoom, you can. We're talking
Hmm.
about coaching online. You're saying that you see results on each end. It has also extended your reach because
It
now you
has.
can reach.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you can coach whoever would like to be coached. But I did hear
Yeah,
you say you
it
keep
does.
the group small, even
I
though we
try to
could
keep it
coach,
small.
right, thousands of people.
Hmm.
Smaller is better, you feel, for the coaches out there
I feel for
online.
me, yes, I think it is better because then I get to touch more people in a shorter amount of time. And yes, I could now have, my brothers and my sisters in Africa or Italy or England. And I actually did a week-long training in one of my Facebook groups. I do those every maybe 4 to 6 weeks, maybe 6 weeks.
Hmm.
And the training, it's a free training, attractsoulmateclients.com. You can find out more about it. It's a free training. And I have people from South Africa, Italy, Australia in that group. And sometimes I do it through Zoom, and most times I do it through Facebook. But again, it gives us that opportunity to reach clients in different parts of the world. So if you're not doing online coaching, if you're not doing online coaching or online training or Facebook Lives or anything like that, you are really, really limiting yourself. And the fear is just your mindset saying, well, this is how we do it. We always do it this way in this container. And your mind is designed to keep you safe, right? But
Hmm.
what you're really looking for, that exciting experience, is outside of that safety. And your mind can be retrained to extend the boundaries that your mind is always going to want to put on you, right? It will extend the boundaries so that you are the one that defines the boundaries. So you're the one that retrains your mind so it will extend the boundaries. And then when you get comfortable with that, you're going to extend it again, right?
Ah,
But I really encourage everybody who's watching and listening, whether it's a Facebook Live or Zoom or something, is you have clients in other countries that are looking for you and they're waiting
ah,
for you to reach them. And now we have no excuse not to, not at
wow.
all.
Wow. Listen, we have a question here from Samantha at Mommy and Me Boutique and Company. Where would you say you get most of your clients from now that you're so, open?
Right. Let's see. I would say when I speak.
Hmm.
So when I do things like this, podcast interviews, virtual events, I'm doing a lot of virtual events. I'm guest speaking at a lot of different places, TV shows,
Right.
podcast shows, and that's where I'm getting my clients and creating your own opportunities. So I mentioned before how I do that week-long training. That's an opportunity that I created, and as an entrepreneur, we have to learn that we also have to create our own opportunities and not just sit and wait for God to open a door or for an opportunity to show up. We're working hand in hand with Him. So you've got to learn how to create your own opportunities and understand that somebody's waiting for you.
Definitely.
Oh, and I do want
Indeed.
to correct something. Attractsoulmateclients.com is the website,
Okay.
attractsoulmateclients.com.
Okay, attractsoulmateclients.com. We'll put that
Mhm.
up there. And I have to ask you this in our last few minutes.
Mhm.
You are the purpose coach. And now, even though I've tapped into my purpose, okay?
Mhm.
And God continues to, what I would say about it is it's not a one-time event. Purpose is is a walk, it's a lifestyle,
Yeah.
it's a
It's a
day after
journey.
it's a journey, okay? But
Uh-huh.
I want to give you an opportunity to speak directly to anybody who may be here with us live or in the future about
Mhm.
purpose, about whatever is
So,
on your heart about purpose.
right. I get a lot of women because my target is women of faith in business. That is the target God gave me, even though I was running from that, believe it or not. That's another story for another time. But I have a lot of people come to me and say, I'm not quite sure what my purpose is. And we all have a purpose, first of all. God created each of us with gifts, um, with a certain personality type, and He uses our experiences, good or bad, and you put it all together and it leads you to your purpose. So, the first thing you want to do is you need to look at what God has gifted you in. What are you passionate about? And what has He gifted you in? And you start there. You start uh, working in it. You start, if you don't have money, then you start finding there's so many free things out there. You start working towards that and praying. So you pray and you work, you pray and you work, and you start working towards that. And God is going to lead you to the next step and then the next step and the next step. So everybody has a purpose. Everybody's purpose is if you look at your passion, you'll find it there. The other thing I want to mention is that a lot of times when we have obstacles or when things are not happening as quickly as we would like them to happen, we start to question if we are in the right purpose. And I will tell you that just because you're having setbacks or challenges does obstacles, it doesn't mean that God is saying no, and it doesn't mean He's saying never. It may just be a part of your journey in the purpose. And I will give you an example. The Holy Spirit told me years ago, the last year of my engineering career, that I had a Joseph calling. At first, I was excited because it's like, oh, the Holy Spirit spoke to me, first of all. I was in my office as an engineer, and the Holy Spirit just was comforting me with something that happened. And He's like, you have a Joseph calling. That was it. A couple of years later, I began to realize what that was. And now I really know what that was. If you have a Joseph calling, one, he reveals himself to you, usually through a dream or vision, right? A dream or vision to show you what your purpose is. And usually that's where we get excited and we want to share with everyone. But then the next phase is the waiting period. The waiting period is a period where some people will drop off. People think that, oh, I must have done something wrong. I must have missed God because everything that's happening, all these struggles that I'm going through, this cannot be God. But usually it is Him. And the reason you'll know it's Him is because you cannot seem to let go of that passion inside of you. And sometimes you might because you're thinking, okay, I messed up, but it will keep showing up. It will keep showing up. And that way you know it's God. So your waiting period is really to develop your character, it's to
Mhm.
develop your skills, right? And then the last phase is that you have the fulfillment. So
Mm.
that waiting period is a period where a lot of people start to question their purpose and calling. That's just where God is developing your character and your skills and getting you ready for that big thing that He's going to use you for. And the third phase, which is the fulfillment.
Everyone has a purpose. There are
Everybody.
stages. This is a journey. And don't let fear stop you or limit you, were some of the main keys from this discussion. Get
Hmm.
out there. Online is just another way for you to get out
Absolutely.
there. And it's really because what you have to do here is much bigger than you. And
Right.
so, Clestine, the Purpose Coach, We are so glad that we got this done. This is awesome. And I know you gave your
Thank you.
website earlier. Just put it back up there in the comments. attractsoulmateclients.com. And so
Yes,
we
that's
can
my
reach you.
free training
Yeah.
site,
Oh,
group,
yeah.
Facebook group.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you. We thank you so much. We'll be following you on there. Thank you. Samantha says this has been an amazing dialogue. And
Thank
so we're just,
you.
yeah, we're excited for everyone who stopped by and spent a little bit of your midday with us here on Media Mondays, especially you, Clestine. Thank you so much for stopping by
Thanks, El
and joining
Michelle.
us. Yes, no problem. And we'll be, of course, back, everybody. Media Mondays will be back live on Facebook periodically, but also on demand on YouTube. Every Monday, we will have
Nice.
a dynamic discussion. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube for those discussions that are not live. Until next time, be great. Bye.